Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 23 of GamerVision. I am just one of your hosts, Jeff from Just One More Level, and we have, of course, Tony from Procedurally Generated here with us. How are
Howdy,
you doing,
howdy,
Tony?
everybody. I'm doing fantastic. I have a lot that I want to talk about in this episode.
That's this topic. We're right at the cusp of possibly hearing some things about Nintendo's next platform. Um,
I mean, if you listen to some people on the internet, Nintendo's released their next platform about four different times at this point.
yeah, that's Switch 2, Switch Pro. Um,
Switch
but
HD, yeah,
yeah, um, but it dawned on me, you got the Switch behind you, which that's the gorgeous OLED
that is
model.
the I. That's a fairly new purchase for me. I don't think I had this last episode. Um, Maybe I did. It might have been two episodes ago that I didn't have it, but I am blown away by that little box right there. I was not expecting just the difference in the screen to be as big as it was, but from the second you turn it on and that bright red switch screen pops on, and it is the most vibrant red I have ever seen. I was blown away by it. And Kirby was the first thing I played on it, so I think that is a perfect sort of demo for
Example for it.
the color opportunities in that game because it goes from very dark stuff to super bright, vibrant, grassy, flower covered everything. And so that was the perfect introduction to the Switch OLED for me, getting those on the same day.
But with the Switch, it is now in its sixth. It's hard to believe 6 years that we are now in
Is it
year
really?
six of the Switch. Um, we were talking a little bit earlier
Yeah.
about how
Gosh.
yeah, I know, just
I
the
have to do. I
time
have to do
time.
that. 2017. Yeah, 5 years ago. We are in the.
Yeah.
That's
So we
insane.
are officially in year six of the Switch, and we were talking a little bit before filming that really since the launch of the platform, Nintendo has just been hitting home run after home run after home run. Like they have just been doing such a good job with the platform. Almost every franchise I like
Yeah.
has had a stellar installment on Switch.
Yeah. The
Um,
the Wii was like that brilliant flash of
yeah,
success for hardware for Nintendo, and then they sort of lost it with what I think in the Wii U was sort of the
yeah,
proof of concept of what would come, and then the Switch has been just an incredible success for them in terms of
yeah,
all of their franchises. All of them are setting records. Kirby has set records. Zelda has set
yeah.
records. Mario
Super
Kart,
Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers. Mario Kart is insanely popular.
Yeah.
I can't believe how well Mario Kart's been doing.
We we talked about it a couple episodes ago that with Mario Kart 8, it is a title that is 8 to 10 years old at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still churning out content for it. They're still selling the same game that they released back on the Wii U. But people are loving it,
Yeah.
and there's tons of new tracks being released. So
It's hard to
do what you're good
believe
at.
an 8-year-old game, if that's exactly how long it is still in the top five.
Yeah,
Oftentimes, the best-selling piece of software on the Switch month after month.
but we for the most part, like the Switch is in its sixth year. It's also hard to believe, but we're now officially in year three of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which is
And you still can't
I
find them
don't
on shelves.
I have no idea where the time is just going, but
Yeah.
um, you know, I figured that this would be a pretty good episode to kind of talk about what we would like to see. As good as the Switch is, as wonderful as that platform is, and I've had some absolutely amazing experiences with like Triangle Strategy and Fire Emblem, Three Houses, Octopath Traveler. Um, I think it would be. I don't think it's outside of the realm to start kind of speculating or just kind
Yeah.
of getting our wish list together for the next Nintendo platform, and hope that Nintendo starts off. with a bang like they did with the Switch.
Yeah, I have no idea
I
what
don't.
they would even call it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, like
Nintendo's never done that. They've never done, you
like
know,
a two or
it's always, we use Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. Everything has
yeah,
been different. They've never done that like straight sequel
yeah,
to a system. Um, this could be the first time they do that, really. But I have no idea what you would
like
call it. Do you go Super Switch? I mean,
I mean that might actually work a little bit. I would like the Nintendo SS. I don't. It rolls off the tongue,
yeah, it's going to
what
be a really weird kind of tightrope that they have to walk because
yeah,
you want to continue on with the success of the Switch, but you have to make sure people know that it's
yeah,
not just another version of the Switch and be like, well, I've already got one of those. Why do I need this other one?
yeah,
Um,
and but as far as putting the wish list together, what is your number one thing that you would like to see in a successor to the Switch?
I think probably what I would love to see and what I think will probably happen is that they will keep the form factor mostly the same. It has been very well received. Like this thing is a beautiful piece of hardware. It has been
Wonderful.
copied by how many companies at this point now? Everybody is doing this. What except the only difference is they're throwing just a PC inside of it and
Yeah,
not doing a dedicated, specifically, separate operating system or whatever.
yeah,
Um, I think that you know, Nintendo led the way with that. There were other people that kind of did stuff like that before, but nobody ever really did that hybrid thing that was powerful enough to be a handheld and a console that you could plug into your TV at the same time. And Nintendo was the first to really do that, and they hit it big. I think they need to keep that going. Maybe
yeah,
thicken it up just a little bit. I think they could go that way, make the controllers a little thicker, give them proper analog sticks instead of the little
yeah.
uh,
Joy-Con thingies.
Joy-Con ones that they have. That's been the biggest complaint from just about anybody who has it. Is it's really thin and those sticks are just awful, and they are. To be fair, everybody deals with Joy-Con drift. I've gone through 5 or 6 different sets of Joy-Cons
Oof.
on different systems.
It gets expensive after a while.
I've done third party ones just to try to bring the cost down a little bit. You lose some of the functionality with some of that stuff.
Yeah,
But I think that is kind of the biggest thing that they need to do, or that I want to see them do. Just maybe bulk it up a little bit. Give it a little bit of heft. Like it's this one is a little bit heavier than the original model of the Switch. But they could go a little bit heavier, thicken up those controllers, and
yeah,
give it some more room to put some more, you know, some more beef inside. Beef up the
and
processor, beef up the hardware inside, make it more powerful. We're starting to really see that gap between the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the Switch now, where a
yeah,
lot of Switch games, if developers want the Switch games to, games to be on Switch, they have to do like the cloud version, just because
and
the hardware's not good enough to run some of those things. So that would be the one thing. Keep the form factor and just make it a beefier system overall.
but kind of playing off of what you were saying as far as like the form factor of the Switch. Hopefully it stays the same or at least very similar to what they got with the Switch. Um, I would like to see them do more with augmented reality and virtual reality. I think some of their franchises really benefit from diving into AR and VR stuff. Like the first thing that pops into my head as far as like virtual reality is playing Star Fox.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
that would be incredible. Um,
dogfights in space with the VR headset. Like that would just doing barrel rolls everywhere. Um,
Star Wars has done that with Squadrons. You could play that in
yes,
VR, and I haven't done it myself, but I've heard some people talking about it, and they say it's an incredible experience to
like
play in the Star Wars universe in VR. And Star Fox, I think, would be a perfect fit for that. Um,
and I think that even if they just remade. uh, you know, the Super Nintendo Star Fox for like the fifth or sixth time at this point.
Um, I don't know if
Yeah,
you played Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS at all, uh,
it's been a while.
but it
Yeah,
had a first person mode that you could play in because of the 3D, and that was so much fun to play. Uh, I think Mario Kart in VR would be an incredible experience. Getting to turn your head as you hear those warning sirens and seeing a red turtle shell coming right at you, or
yeah,
you're driving along in first person, you see that blue turtle shell flying around your
yeah.
head, and you just know bad things are about to happen. That would be so much fun.
You're in the driver's seat. You turn and you see Luigi's death stare right at you, just in your face. And kind of going even into it a little bit as far as like augmented reality. Like on the Switch, like Nintendo toyed around with some of the stuff, like the that home tour, Mario
Hmm.
Kart home tour, like creating your own little track and
Which is really fun.
the
I
remote
have
control
that,
card.
and it is really fun. Even if you're not actually playing the Mario Kart stuff, just to have the Switch on and
Yeah,
just drive the Mario Kart car around your yard and or through your house. I've
yeah.
I've done the thing where you try to drive up to your cat and have them play with the Mario Kart thing. My cats don't care. I can run right into them and they don't move. They're like, yeah, I
Well,
know. I'm not an idiot. You're trying to get me to do something, and I'm not going to do it.
I've been around you forever. You're playing games and stuff. Eventually you'll get bored.
Yeah.
Um, but I think Nintendo definitely has the franchises that
Mhm.
would benefit. We've seen Niantic play around with the Pokemon Go as far as augmented reality with Pokemon. I think
Pokemon
a
Snap
full
would be
fledged,
incredible in VR.
yeah, like they'd be able to do all sorts of stuff with the Pokemon franchise, whether augmented or virtual. Um, but yeah, I would like to see, and if they maintained the form factor with the Switch, I think that would benefit, like putting more of an emphasis on virtual reality
Mhm.
and augmented reality. Um,
Yeah,
for the most part, I would just really like to see Star Fox in VR.
the Labo stuff. I don't know if you have any experience with that, but the Labo stuff that they did for VR was really fun. The stuff that was made specifically for Labo was really fun.
Um, but I think it, like built from the ground up would totally benefit.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to see like a Fire Emblem game where it's like an augmented reality thing and like you're moving your characters
Dude,
around almost like a chessboard
I
type thing.
hadn't even thought about that, but you're just blowing my mind right now because that would be amazing. I am a
Like
big tabletop role playing guy. Like I've played a
it would be
ton of
awesome.
Warhammer, and oh gosh, the idea of playing Fire
Yeah,
Emblem and being able to like see those characters as like models on a table
yeah.
and to reach out and pick them up and move them around and oh my, that would be so much
I
fun.
I it even if it was like slightly gimmicky, I think I would still just go crazy over something like that because um like Fire Emblem, it as far as like moving the characters around, it's not like high energy
Yeah,
type stuff. You're just moving pieces. It's a very tactical experience. And I think augmented reality would work very well with that.
now
Kind
I
of
want that. I want that so bad. I
I'm
want that
hoping
back.
that they do something. I'm hoping they do something with it because I feel like they Nintendo typically, whenever they try something like with Labo or with their VR stuff, some of the augmented reality things, like later on they do an even bigger thing with it. So I'm hoping that Labo was kind of a let's
Mhm.
test the
Yeah.
waters, let's see what we can do with this, and then um, like all as far as I remember, like the Labo stuff sold fairly well.
Sold
Like
fairly
I
well.
don't. Um, I really hope, and like Nintendo's not the best at it. Sony is almost awful with this.
Nintendo's
Um,
probably the well, I'm not going to say the worst. I think Sony's probably the worst at this,
yeah,
but
Sony's going for that crown. They are,
Nintendo's trying to be the worst.
and then Sony was like, oh yeah, well, what about these made up expiration dates on the stuff you've purchased? Um, that's a whole other topic that. But I would love to see all of my previous purchases, physical and digital, be carried forward. Like I want to see see these games move forward. Um, like
Yeah, backwards compatibility has to be a priority.
yes, like
Microsoft has proven the value of making sure a back catalog of games being pulled forward is a huge thing with players.
Yeah. And like I consistently, myself and a couple friends, uh we follow a Wario64 on Twitter to find all the best like deals and stuff. And that was an unintentional plug for that. Um, but to find great deals.
Yeah.
And there is consistently, Microsoft consistently puts like original Xbox 360 and I mean still puts Xbox One titles on sale.
Mhm.
And we buy them, whether it's like $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever. Like going back and buying 360 titles that are on sale just because like, oh well, yeah, I might give this a shot and it's super
Yeah.
super cheap now.
Or, I had a copy of that game at one point. I sold it, I lost it, it got broken. I'd really like to
Yeah,
have another copy of it, and to go out and get a physical version of this is, 90, 100, $150. It's on the Xbox store for $2. I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna add it to my library, and I'll
yeah.
be able to just play it whenever I want.
For for me, like I digital backwards compatibility seems like a no brainer. Like I don't I I cannot grasp why a digital title would not go forward with any of these storefronts. Um,
I think it's mostly it's either hardware limitations for some things, like the PS3 stuff. Sony
yeah,
still hasn't figured out how to cram a PS3 inside a PS4 or a
yeah,
PS5. So there's a lot of that type of thing. Some of it could just be server space, but server space to hold a file like that, I wouldn't think would be too terribly. I don't really know. You know, I'm not a guy that
and
handles that kind of stuff.
I'm not a software engineer, so I don't really know. But I since you're not, I guess in a way you're still having the hardware physically do something,
Hmm.
but it's not like it's having to read from a disk. It's not having to read a certain frequency
Yeah.
or whatever from a disk. So I feel like digital purchases should just move forward. Um, all of the companies have found ways to make it work at varying degrees of success, but I feel like at this point, backwards compatibility is a must.
Yeah.
With
Absolutely. And we're going to
that,
see game storefronts like Stadia. They're setting the groundwork for we're never going to have to buy
yeah,
another piece of hardware ever. Our games are just going to work for the entire time that this service is available. From the time I buy it, 20, 30 years from now, as long as Stadia is still a thing, which is a possibility. A lot of people don't think so, but it will probably be in some form or another. I'm going to have access to those titles. And I bought it one time 20 years ago, but I can still play it.
and just a very quick tangent. I thought when Microsoft was talking about smart delivery, I was like, man, that's a really nice PR term right there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you buy the game once, play it, play the best version based on the hardware
On the
that's
hardware
available to
you got,
you.
yeah.
I was like, that's such a that's a PR term. However, Sony has made sure that it is much more than just a PR term, because with the PlayStation 5, I've got the PS4 version of Elden Ring. I have to have the PS4 disc in the system for it to play the upgraded free PS5 version.
That's so dumb.
The problem with it is, well, among other things, the PS5 continuously tries to install the PS4 version along with the PS5 version every time I turn the system on, because for some reason the system needs to try to. It doesn't need the PS4 version on there.
Yeah.
It plays it without that on there. For some reason, the PS5 just keeps thinking that it needs to have this thing installed when it doesn't, because it's just going to take up space.
Yeah.
Um, so smart delivery is definitely more than just a PR term, because like I can jump between PC and Xbox Series X and just like have no issues, no problems. I just boot up the game and I start playing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's been one of the greatest things about the Microsoft ecosystem this generation is
Made
the
it so simple.
the Play Anywhere stuff, where if it's a Play
Yes.
Anywhere title, you buy it once and you can play it on the Xbox One, you can play it on the Xbox Series hardware, you can play it on PC if the PC version is available, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter which version you play. They're just like, okay, you click a button, it syncs with the server to pull your save file from the last version of the game you played. It drops you right in where you were. It doesn't matter. That is
Yeah.
so nice.
So Nintendo, kind of back to Nintendo. Please, 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 backwards compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, like you said, it's a must. It needs to be there. Just make it happen.
Yeah. They've started to do a little bit of it with games like A Plague Tale, Control, Kingdom Hearts, um, and that is they're dabbling in the cloud. Whether it's Nintendo themselves or third parties wanting to get their games on the Switch in some form or fashion. If cloud is the only way for them to do it, they're going to do it. I
Yeah.
think Nintendo needs to make sure that they have the best Wi-Fi available in the system, and that any version of the dock that they sell after this needs to be this one right here that has the wired Ethernet connection, so that when the
Yes.
system is docked, it is using the best possible internet connection. And I think they need to capitalize on cloud and streaming technology. I've played a number of the games through the cloud. I played Control, I played A Plague Tale all the way through, and I played, a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 1. And
Oh
all
yeah, I
of
forgot
those
about Kingdom Hearts.
experiences were really good for me playing through the cloud. Um, I'm a big proponent of cloud streaming and that technology, and I want to see Nintendo embrace that and utilize that going forward.
Yeah, and uh, kind of playing off of that Ethernet connection. I've tried to play things like Smite, whether handheld or docked, and the game is so laggy because it gets so hectic at times that the game just starts stuttering along. Um, it's not quite unplayable on the Switch, but I think having that Ethernet connection would definitely
Yeah.
help that out a lot. It isn't as big of an issue with the Switch as it has been in previous Nintendo platforms, but I just it's friend codes.
Oh,
Just like
yeah.
have a messaging system, like have something to be able to like have like a party chat type of thing. I would really hope to see that happen instead of having to have like a separate app that you download to your
Mm-hmm.
phone
Yeah,
to be able to communicate.
I don't necessarily have a problem with the friend code thing. That's really no different than any of the other online things. It's just you have to memorize it or know how to easily access your friend
Yeah,
code thing. It would and because
I
that's
guess.
so ingrained into Nintendo's online infrastructure, it might be hard for them to get rid of that. Um,
I mean,
but yeah,
well,
their online infrastructure is garbage.
like that I guess just like an overarching thing. I would just really hope that they do an overhaul of their uh, online offerings because like comparing the eShop or Nintendo Online to like PSN and the PlayStation Store or
Mhm.
Xbox Live and Game Pass and stuff like um, it's definitely lagging behind quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Um, but even if they didn't get away or do away with friend codes, just like making it where it's just easy to send friend requests, be
Yes.
able to have like a system built in where you can message your friends, share video clips or photos and stuff, or snapshots of games that you're playing. Um, just being able to have
Could
that communication feature.
could we just bring
Um,
back Miiverse? Like
oh
seriously,
man,
a lot of
that was a
people,
long time.
you know, joked on Miiverse, but I had so much fun talking to people that I've never
Street Pass.
talked to on Twitter. I've never talked to anywhere else, but I had a community of guys that I talked to on Miiverse because we were playing the same types of games and could go into that community for that one specific game and talk to other people about that experience. I absolutely loved Miiverse. I thought it was a great social media type of thing that was dedicated specifically to the stuff that you were doing on your gaming hardware. And I know a lot of people hijacked it and used it for things they shouldn't have. But it was so much fun. And, the meme about the guy that, talks about, reviews the water in all of the games, I enjoyed those messages. Like, you would see them all the time. And, and it was funny the first few times, and then you're like, okay, seriously, dude. But then after a while, it was just this thing, and you got, a new game came out, and you had to check the Miiverse to see if the guy had been playing it and commented about the water.
uh, a couple little odds and ends. Like I would like to see with with the Switch being portable, I would like to see something along the lines of like Street Pass
Mm-hmm.
come back. Um, I thought that was a really cool thing, just like little puzzle pieces and stuff, and just being able to like make these
Yeah,
collages of things. Um, Also, it was dumb. It was very pointless, but it was also just amusing. The on the Wii, the Everybody Votes channel,
yeah.
um,
Nintendo has done
like
so many of those just
just
goofy,
weird,
silly
like
things. But and you a lot of those things are things that you think about and you don't really appreciate in the moment, but looking back you're like, I had so much fun voting on whether or not chocolate or peanut butter was the better part of a peanut butter cup.
yeah,
And
like
trying to guess what everybody else would think, and those
yeah, like
those silly little online Nintendo
yeah.
experiences were a lot of fun and made for experiences that you didn't get anywhere else. It was
It
Nintendo
was
doing Nintendo's thing, and it was
very
amazing.
very uniquely Nintendo.
Yeah,
They're like, what do people want with their game platform? Um, Random voting on just absurd things,
yeah.
just
Like, don't
random things.
don't bring back the news channel. Don't bring back the weather channel.
Yeah,
Bring back
don't need the
everybody
bulletin
votes.
board.
Bring back Miiverse.
Yeah.
Get a huge team of moderators if you need to. But those are the kinds of
Just make it
things.
happen.
Those are the kinds of things that people that play on Nintendo systems really enjoy.
Yeah, we definitely know that Nintendo's going to be. It will be
Hmm.
their generation to lose. Like they would have to do something that was just
Yeah.
the Switch with like five handles would just be. They would have to come up with something that would just.
Okay. Here's one thing that I think they could do. I would. It would be the stupidest thing, the weirdest thing, but foldable technology is becoming a thing, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody liked the DS. Everybody liked the 3DS.
I can kind of see where
What
they're
if
going.
we
Yeah.
get a Galaxy Fold style thing that you can close it? Maybe when it's closed, it's a single screen thing that you can see on the outside. This would be ridiculously expensive, so they'll never do it. But then you can unfold it, have a DS style system, and we can get DS Virtual Console.
But let us know in the comments what you think as far as like the next platform, what you would love to see in a Switch 2, a Switch Pro 2.0, Switch whatever they call
Super
it, game,
Switch,
yeah, supersonic Switch, like just whatever they name the next one. Um,
the Switchbox Station.
yeah, yeah, they've come up with some weird names in the past. Just avoid Virtual Boy altogether,
I was
and
just gonna say they need to bring the Virtual Boy.
well,
Like when they
I,
do Labo 2.0, Virtual Boy games need to be a thing.
I, I don't. I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe. But we'll we'll see you with the next episode of GamerVision right here on YouTube.
Bye, everybody.